Hey guys, it's Becky with Design Bundles. So I'm here today to talk to you about using the print and cut feature on your Cricut machine to make your own stickers. Now, stickers are a very versatile product. You can use printable sticker sheets, printable labels, you can even use printable vinyl. All of that material goes right along with this material. And if you happen to be a planner or even a newbie planner, or maybe you want to be a planner, definitely follow along with this tutorial because you are going to be wowed at how easy using the print and cut feature is to make your own printable stickers.
Okay, so here we are, of course, on designbundles.net, and this is some clip art that I've picked out. This is a set that I use all the time, and I personally use these for planner stickers, but you can always use these for decorations on your tumblers. You can use the print and cut feature to decorate shirts. So don't shy away. I just wanted to come and show you that I personally look for the PNG files. It says up here at the top. And if I scroll down, you can also see that it tells me in the description that it does come with PNG files. We do not have to worry that they are a super high resolution, but the 300 dpi is good to know. And it's also good to know that it's going to come with a transparent background and not on a white background. So just a few things to look for and keep in mind. Now I have already purchased this item, so I am going to come to my account, to my purchases, and once that loads, you will see, here we go, there's the set, and I can simply click on download files and click on the files to download to my computer. It doesn't take very long, so once that's done, I can just click on the folder because I'm on PC, and it will show me the files that are included in that folder. Now, remember, you can't access them when they're in the zipped format like this, so I'm going to go to Extract All, and it will tell me they're going to be extracted to my Downloads folder, and I'll just hit Next, and my PC will take care of the rest of that for me. Once that has been completed, I can just go back to my Downloads folder and just locate my unzipped file, which will be down here. And you'll notice I will get a preview of all of the clip art images that came with the file. Now let's click over to Cricut Design Space, and I'll show you how we're going to import these and turn them into printable stickers that you can cut with your print and cut feature. So here we are. This is the main canvas, and I can simply click on the upload icon down here on the left and click upload image. Now remember, when you click browse, these are the file types that we talked about, so you can see that the PNG and JPEG formats are perfectly acceptable. I can choose browse, select downloads, and then select the file that I'm looking for. I'm just going to pick one to start with. We'll just start with this basic flower right here. And as you can see, it is going to go ahead and import with that transparent background, which is what we read about in the description. Now, if it were importing with a white background, this would be important that I can click on one of these colors and it will remove it from the picture. Because this is already a transparent background, we're not going to do that today. So I'm just going to hit continue at the bottom. And I do want to make sure that I've selected this image on the left, and you can see it tells you save as a print then cut, versus on the right hand side is just a cut. We definitely want the print then cut. So from there I can click on my image and choose insert, and it will insert that image into my design space. Because obviously if I'm going to be printing these out for planners or to decorate something, usually if I've purchased a clip art set, I want to use more than one of them. So let's pull in some of these really cute pineapples. Okay, I will pull in, let's see, I really like this pineapple. And I will simply repeat this process until I have all of the clip art that I need. Okay, so I think this is a good start for our clip art. Now, we do want to pay attention to the sizing. Clip art can sometimes come in a little large. That's okay. We just want to make sure that if we're going to be using them for smaller stickers, size them appropriately. Now, once they're sized, what Cricut Design Space is meant to do is to cut around each individual clip art. And that's really useful if that is what you're going for. If it's not what you're going for, or you want to combine several elements, then what we need to keep in mind is that we can flatten our clip art together. So for example, if I want to combine these two clip arts, I will simply layer them together, size them how I want them to be. There we go. And I can simply select those two and choose flatten. And then Cricut Design Space will keep those together when it's time to print and cut. The same thing can be said for two different elements. For example, if I want to combine the flower and the teal pineapple, let's bring that to front and just put it over here off to the side. Okay, I like that. I'm going to select those two and I will choose flatten again. And you can check on your layers over here. You can see it says flattened for my pineapple and flattened for my teal pineapple and flower set. Okay, so like we said, Cricut Design Space, or rather your Cricut, is going to cut around the outside of your shape. But what happens if you want to maybe print a circle sticker and you don't want it to trim exactly around the outside? I'm going to combine it with a circle image. So for example, say I want my circle to be 4 inches. I will arrange it by sending to back, and then typically speaking, I'm going to have my circle white, and I will just layer my pineapple on top. If you are more comfortable, you can use the align tool to align them to center, and then you will do the same thing. You will flatten those together. And what that means when we flatten is that Design Space has now recognized that these are made up into one image. So when I come over to make it, you will see that they stay together, and although you cannot see the white circle, you can tell that room has been left for the white circle because that's what's going to cut. Okay, let's also talk about a few options we have when it comes to printing, because one thing that we want to do is be prepared for the print bleed. And what that means is that Design Space will put a thin layer around the outside of our clip art in a similar color so that whenever it's time to cut it, if the alignment happens to be a little bit off, then you won't get this awkward white outline around your clip art. So something to keep in mind, for example, if I had layered these but I had not flattened them, then what will happen is I will get a bleed around the outside of my pineapple or my glasses or my flower over here, and that's going to mess up how my overall image looks. So just something else to keep in mind, a good idea to flatten those images. Now when it's time for sizing, you can just size them together. Typically, if we're talking about something like planner stickers, then you want to go somewhere around the 1 inch, inch and a half. Don't be afraid to break out your ruler and measure out your planner to see how large or small you need these stickers. Same thing with if you're using these for a tumbler or something similar. Stickers are always popular for also decorating back to school. So lots of uses. Just don't be afraid to measure so that you don't waste your material and your printer ink. On these images in particular, I am going to size them a little smaller. Let's see, I will do my pineapple in 2 inches. I'm going to do this pineapple in 3 inches. Now remember, this is my pineapple and my circle. And I will also do this pineapple in 3 inches. 3 inches is just a good general size, 3 to 4 inches. Now when it's time, go ahead and click over to Make It. Now let's talk about this area right here. It's important to notate that this is a letter size sheet, and you'll notice that the rest of this paper is going to waste. So it's very important anytime you have the opportunity to try to go ahead and use all the material that is available to you. Printable material isn't always the cheapest, so it's also good if you can test this out on a piece of copy paper or cardstock first, just to make sure that your sizing and your colors and your print and cut are going to work the way that you planned them to work. Now you'll notice the thick black line around the outside. What that is it is going to be how your Cricut picks up the alignment of your shapes whenever you put them on the cutting mat. So don't be afraid or concerned about why that thick outline is there. It's perfectly normal and it's needed for your machine. I'm going to choose Continue at the bottom. Now it's time to send this design to my printer. I can click Send to Printer, and this is just like any type of printer control menu. I'll be able to choose which printer I want to send it to, how many copies I need, and then here is that add bleed right here. Now technically you can turn the add bleed off. It's not something that I usually recommend. On Cricut, it's not as big of a deal because Cricut's print and cut feature is pretty accurate. So if you're getting weird results with your add bleed, you can turn it off here, but try to keep it on if you can, because you're going to get typically better results with your print and cut. Now, if for some reason your image did not print or you need to print again, you can do that. You can simply click on the printed area and choose Send to Printer again. Not usually necessary, but just in case you need to know where that's at. Now, depending on the type of material you chose, you may need to allow your ink to dry, but once it's dry, you can choose Browse Materials, and you can search for the type of material that you printed on. I printed on a printable sticker sheet. So if I search for sticker, you see I get some defaults. I'm just going to choose sticker paper and choose Done. I will leave the pressure to default, and the machine will tell me to load my fine point blade, which is already in my machine. Okay, so we've printed our clip art, and can you see the difference between the crispness on these leaves and the rounded look on these? And that is the print bleed that I was talking about. You will see that again more evident after the cutting has finished. So you'll see my mat is well loved. It is not very sticky, and that is the type of mat I like to use when using anything of a cardstock or paper variety, which I include the sticker paper in that default. Line my mat up and load it in my machine, and then it'll be ready to cut. Okay, so we have finished our cuts, and so far it looks like we have really good results. Now what you can do, remove it from the mat, and if you would like to use the rest of this and you have a printer that is capable of using less than a letter size sheet, feel free to trim that off. And then when it's time to reveal your sticker, this is a lot like reading vinyl. I'm simply going to get it started in the top corner. I can pull it away from the backing, and it should leave behind only the stickers that I have printed and cut. There we go. And that is what you want. So basically you want it to cut like it does vinyl, and you see that bleed area that I was talking about here. You can also see how close it came to the edge. That tells me that the alignment was just a tad off, and I'm really glad that I had that bleed line turned on. But what I was saying is you want it to cut through the sticker sheet without cutting through the backing, similar to what we use for adhesive vinyl. Now you are free to use these stickers. See, it actually cut a little thicker than I would have liked, but you can now peel these stickers off. And this is a sticker that I can use for anything I want. So there we go, and they fit perfectly.
So, what did you guys think? Really, really easy, right? I mean, Cricut, really, between the software and the machine, you can't go wrong with making these printable stickers. Don't be afraid of it. Test out on that copy paper. That is a good place to start. Copy paper and cardstock to make sure you have the hang of the print and cut before you move on to that more expensive material. Am I right? Okay, so, we threw these little stickers in our planner. They came out really, really well. I'm really happy with them. And it's just cute little accents that you can use to spice things up, or, they're really fun to give away. You can use them for chore charts. You can decorate tumblers. Don't feel held back thinking that stickers are just for planners, because they're definitely not. All right, if you guys have not already, be sure to subscribe to the channel because we have a lot more fun just around the corner for you. Thanks for watching.